Hey, SportsGlobe, you all understand this trading business. I don't, but here we go. Another video trying to understand the Chris Paul trading to Toronto Raptors and how it's going to benefit the Raptors any at all. Giving them more opportunity for more money, I understand. But is that so? How is it going to benefit them? Let us know in the comments as well. This episode is sponsored by J&J Garage. Top quality, cheap prices.
J Garage, we do excellent brakes and clutch repair. Pressure plates, flywheels, disc brake pad, brake shoes, clutches. Any job you have, cars, vans, jeeps, buses, trucks, and tractors. Just call J&J Garage, 1-876-408-3836, 887-7504 for all your pickup and delivery service throughout the 14 parishes.
Alright, welcome guys to another Sports Globe YouTube channel video. So we have some good conversation today. So I have a guest with us, and of course Rudy is with me again. Rudy, welcome.
Yeah, man, it's always good, man. Big up yourself, to the fans. Share it. When the link come up, share it to your friends and your family.
Yeah, man, and of course we have, a very good friend of mine joining us as a guest this today, which is RJ. I know him as right, and I think he preferred to be called RJ, but is one of my barber up at my barber shop that I get my hair cut, here in Scarborough, in Toronto, up at JB Barber's Design. And if you guys have any chance to go there and check it out on Pitfield Avenue, go and check out those barbers. They have great haircut that you can get from them. Male, female, because I see all of that going on. Children, your kids and everything. So remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel here at Sports Globe. And leave your comments with us as well. Let us know what's happening here in Neck of the Woods. Let us know what you think about the discussion that we have. But anyway, so all that said and done, we want to talk a little bit about a big piece of news. Of course, we are in Toronto. Of course, the Raptors is a Toronto team, and we wanted to know a little bit about this trading thing that has been happening, that Chris Paul seems like he's coming to Toronto from my reading of the thing, but it looked like he's not necessarily going to be playing for the team, my understanding of it. Or I thought that Chris Paul was a little bit retired. I thought he was out of the game. Maybe I wasn't following the game so much, but I mean, Rudy and RJ are going to bring me up to speed on it totally. I have my question. So, before we go, I just want to ask Rudy, what's your understanding of the whole basketball trading this time? Of course, we're not into is the playoffs that they call it too. I think we're still in the kind of preliminary kind of a season, the early part of the basketball season. But tell me what you think of it.
Every team and every league have a day when they can trade. So we're just coming out from the trade deadline. And certainly we see a lot of players being moving around and bouncing around. The teams are setting up themselves either for the future or for the playoffs. And I think that's a part of it. And we see the same thing here in Toronto. And the trade could come from a lot of different pieces where they can gain or they could lose. And or they look for the future to set up themselves. A lot of teams, when they trade somebody, they look at getting picks, 2-3 years later on that can benefit them. So some of them just build a team for the future, certainly, and some of them just get ready for the playoffs, putting the pieces together, players who can come in and play in whatever it is, as a famous coach said, Phil Jackson said to Dennis Rodman when he do a sit down with him, and he said, could you play in the triangle? And he said, yeah, I can play anywhere. Because the Chicago Bulls have a triangle, and he said, yeah, I can play anywhere, and Phil said, okay. So a lot of players, a lot of coaches look at that too, because you might be a big superstar, but you cannot play with some of the players. You may not be able to play with some of the things. So that's what it is. If Chris Paul really going to play the game here in Toronto, I look at it as more of a leadership point of it, because of the experience he have, maybe coming in for this year or coming for the short time he have now to groom some of these guys. But he's a very good point guard. And I think it's something that, yeah, we look at the Raptors and we say, yeah, they're doing so well, they're doing so good, but they probably might be lacking in that area, and
Yeah.
the point guard there in front, right?
Yeah.
So, in spite of how a team might be looking good now, that means nothing come playoffs. Playoffs is a total
Mm.
different game. It's a total different game. We have seen teams who's number one. We have seen Raptors in many occasions, many times over the years. The top ranked team, and they didn't make it through the first round. So it is a totally different game. So let me get RJ point of view on that, and then
Yeah.
I'll continue on. Yeah.
RJ, you know what I wanted to start off with? Tell us a little bit about Chris Paul himself. Who is he? Where is he coming from? How long he has been in the league? Give us a little bit of background on who Chris Paul is.
So Chris Paul, I believe, has been in the league for now. I think it's 20 years. It's either 19 or 20
Mm.
years. I think he was drafted in
Yeah,
2005.
20 years. 20 years, yeah.
20 years. Okay, so 2005 to the New Orleans Hornets at the time. Where he is currently, and this is a bit of sticky situation. He is currently on the roster of the Clippers, the LA Clippers.
Yeah.
But he was dismissed. He had announced that this was his retirement season, and then him and the coach reportedly had like a disgruntled relationship, and the team had asked him to not come in, just go home, sent him home. So he is currently still being paid by the Clippers at the time, and they sent him home, and he did not touch the floor for maybe about 2 months, whatever the case. So
yeah, something like that, yeah.
yeah. So now when the trade comes along, and this trade at first it seemed like he would be a veteran voice for the Toronto Raptors to get them comfortable with a potential playoff berth and competing, because the oldest person that they have there is Pirtle, and Pirtle is not playing. He's not even like he's been injured. The next person who is the oldest person is Brandon Ingram, I believe. Brandon Ingram is I think 28 years old. So they have no veteran presence. Yeah, he's been in a league for a long time. Brandon Ingram had got to the Lakers, then went to New Orleans after that. I believe he was on the Lakers when Kobe was playing. I could be wrong, but I believe he was there when Kobe was playing. That's how long it's been. So you would think that Chris Paul would come here to be a veteran presence. Now, Abaji was on the trading block plus one of our second round draft picks for 2032. Now, Abaji's been playing very well. Being a person that comes off the bench, he was a two-way player. He'll give you some slashing action, and he might hit a corner three, plus he'll play defense. So I believe that they had dumped Abaji because if they're in a rebuilding stage of the team, then you keep Abaji, right? Because he's still young. But I believe that they didn't want to pay the man, and they had to do a salary dump in order to avoid the luxury tax. And Chris Paul comes. Now, what I thought was he could be a veteran presence, but reports come out from a man by the name of Shams, and Shams basically gets all the if something happens and he says if something is happening, if he says it, it's official. And what he said is that they're going to use him as a calorie dump, and they're actually a salary dump, and they're going to waive him. So he's not even going to touch a cord. In fact, he's not even going to touch a cord. He's not even expected to report to the Raptors when the trade happened. They're just going to dump his. They're just going to dump his salary, and that'd be it. He'd become a free agent, or he'd be on the waivers for somebody to pick up for if another team wants it. But that situation in Clippers, they just needed to get rid of a piece because he has to be paid the veteran minimum, which is about $9 million. So they just saved themselves about $9 million.
Okay.
So Abaji, whatever Abaji was going to get signed for, he was going to get re-signed for a larger amount of money than what he's paying for right now. And we have a player by the name of I think his name is Watkins, who is essentially the same player as Abaji, but he's newer. He's less money. So get rid of one guy. We basically have a guy that's about the same player, same physical structure. Everything's about, and he's younger. He gets paid less. He's on a rookie contract. get rid of Obagi so we don't have to re-sign him. We can save some money there. Dump Chris Paul's contract. We can save money there too as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what, and this is the reports. He's not going to report to the Raptors. He's not going to play for the Raptors. They're going to waive him. That is the reports.
Oh, so it's just well.
It was a financial decision based off the team.
So he's never going to be touching the court for the Raptors at all?
The report is that he is not going to report to the Raptors and he will not be playing in the Raptors jersey.
So what's the benefit of that, though?
The only benefit of it is that it allows the team to become more financially flexible with signing players for next year. Because a lot of players are on contracts that are not ending. I think Obaji's contract was ending. I'll do some research on that to confirm.
Because I tell you, RJ, like I was telling Rudy earlier, I think, for me in sports is that the team is playing, they're playing good, and I understand the whole thing about playing in the conference league and that kind of a thing, and getting good games and beating teams and all of that, which is the same teams that is going to be playing inside of the playoffs. Fine, I understand when it comes to that part, come to that stage. The thing is that teams now shuffling around to get, more players, or look to put, players in place where they think they have weaknesses in the team and that kind of a thing. Because a whole different thing now is the real competition, real competition time. This is when they're going to play to stay up into the competition. So I'm thinking that the Raptors playing well all season, looking good. They're beating teams, and the record is looking good in the conference thing now. Why not just continue with that? Why try to start to bring in new players as to alter the cohesion or the cohesiveness of how the players are playing together now? They seem happy together. They seem comfortable together. They're expressing the level of happiness and comfort that they have with playing with each other, and they seem to be finding a rhythm with each other too. Why spoil that rhythm now?
Well, you have to remember. Go on. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it's not a rhythm you're spoiling. You got to understand that if a team move, you have to look to move. You have to think like that. A team is thinking that, okay, if they put some pieces in place, then you also have to say, okay, what are we going to do? You see, if a team move is strategy, is military. If the US move up, coming to your base, then you're going to start putting things in place. So it's the same. It's sort of the same concept, right? That teams also, when you see trading and stuff, especially in the East or the West, when moves like that happening, they look at what's happening. Now, if a team in the bottom of the pile makes moves, it ain't gonna bother you. But if it's high-end team, it's teams up there that trying to be in the top 6, and the top 6 is guaranteed. Top 7 is not guaranteed. Top 6 is guaranteed. Yeah. And also for the game, it's not about the game to where we see it. We look at the game aspect. The GM and the owners look at the financial aspect about it. They make playoffs. That's more money for them.
But adding Chris Paul to, I wouldn't even say it's the team that you added him to. Because what are we adding him to? Because he's not coming to Toronto at all. What is good? No, he's going to be an advisor. How it works?
No, it's not going to be none of that because it's a money thing, right? But them getting Chris Paul, they're saving.
So
it's a money. Everything comes from balance, right? Yeah.
So a real quick research on the up and coming season. Summer of 2027 is a humongous free agency season. If the Raptors sign or take on any more financial weight, they won't have the money to pursue free agents.
Oh.
So the salary dump allows them to free up themselves up a little bit more financially. Remember, they have everyone else is either on a rookie extension or a rookie contract, which they can extend, and it's not hit by luxury tax because they have the bird rights of these players. Or they already have players already signed and locked in. Brandon Ingram's first year of his 3-year contract is this year. So for 2 more years, you have him. And I don't think there's a player's option for a 3rd year. So I think it's full 3 straight years. I don't think the only person I know that does player option in a short-term contract of 2 to 3 years is LeBron James. And Brandon Ingram is not LeBron James. Okay, so it is literally just a financial ploy because Richie, you do not want your team to get comfortable because comfortability is the grandfather for stagnation. You do not want,
and that's what that's what the Raptors put themselves in position for the past few years. They put themselves in that position over the years, and that's what happened. Yeah, they
guys
did
get
that. So they
comfortable.
realize it now. Yeah, the guys get comfortable.
Yep. Guys get comfortable. They don't, then whatever the case, they might not play as hard because money is good. Sometimes you need to do these things in order to shake bind. Obaji was playing very well. Very well. And he was getting better every single year because he was getting more PT. And you get rid of him. It says two things. To someone who's in business, would be like, that has to be something where they don't want to resign the person and get caught up in financial contract for the next few years. And also says to the players that anyone can get traded. It doesn't matter how good you are. This is
and they're also thinking about off season, right? When the season done, there'll be players contract will be up and they can pick up some players. And you understand? So there's a lot of realistic inside of it that is just, that is more than what we think. We look at it and why they get rid of this person. I always used to say over the years when they get rid of Chris Bosh, I said, man, they have the money now. When did they get players? Like I always used to think that, but there's always a strategy behind it that, of course, we don't see that, right? Because I used to say that all the time. But then when you look at it now, they have to think financially so that they can get players coming and down the road and put things in place. Because yes, Chris Bosh was gone many years, but then you put yourself in a position where you win a title.
Yeah, but also you have to remember, in order to get players here, it's very difficult. These players a lot of the players that are dominating, at an earlier time, were American, all right? They want to be in America. They do not want to be in Toronto. They don't want to be crossing borders every time they go into the States. They want to come. They just don't want to do it. They're not used to it. A lot of these people, there's a ton of Americans that don't even have passports. They're not used to traveling like people from Toronto. You have multiculturalism in Toronto. So people are not used to traveling. Them, not so much. Some of these guys have never had a passport until they end up getting on the team, and now that, I have to go get my passport now. So attracting players here has always been an Achilles heel for Toronto.
Difficult. But let me go back to something though. Because 2 seasons ago that they won, the Raptors?
No, that was 7.
Three.
Back.
Well, all right. So when they won that year, I remember watching that same team. That's the same team they had from conference right up until playoff until they won. I remember the same members of the same team. Everybody got to know all of those members right through until they won the championships. What's so different now though?
Because it's a different time. Everything different now. Everything is different now. Everything is no longer. Listen, what Raptors did, and that's how we stated that if they don't put this stuff together and be smart, they're not winning another title. You have to change. You can't do the same thing you did. It's not going to work now.
And like you said, Rudy, different times. Raptors are not contenders this year. They're just not. They're good. They're middle of the pack. Good, but they're not going to be contending for a conference championship and in a final. It's not going to happen.
So RJ, you are saying that the Raptors don't have a chance of winning this season?
They don't have a chance of winning this season. No.
Rudy, you said the same thing too?
Hey everyone, check out this bump-free spray. It stops grown hair to show you just one spray. It's that easy. No bumps, no irritation, just smooth skin. Get yours today.
Yeah, they don't have a chance. Listen,
Raptors the opportunity no time.
No, but right now they are in like 5th or 6th right now, and you got to think of the teams that they have to go against. And those teams make moves. And put things in place. All right. So if you don't, what's going to happen? All right, so
what is it then that the Raptors need? Is it that they need more financial support inside of the money that they have to go around?
Oh, they have the money.
What is it?
They have the money. They just need to be able to mind. We don't do a good job at luring free agents here. When that year you're talking about was 2018, 2019 season when the Raptors won.
Right.
When we picked up Kawhi Leonard, it was for a trade. It was not free agency. He had a disgruntled relationship with the Spurs, and we traded. And this is the thing: we went to the conference finals. I don't know if it was that year, or the year before, with DeMar Rosen, with everybody on the team. They had to make a move, and there was a lot. That was a gamble. That was a roll of the dice. You had a player who had been here for years since he was drafted. He wanted to be here, and you traded for somebody. You knew you were renting a mercenary. You're renting a mercenary. That's all it was. And if that didn't work, Masai would have lost his job for sure. But it worked. All right. And that's literally all you did it for. But the whole point was the team was too comfortable for too many years. We got to shake it up.
And I'm going to say this now. Like I always said, if one of those star players in the Golden State didn't get hurt, I don't know if we're going to say Raptors would have a title.
Oh, there's some luck. There's some luck.
If one of them wasn't down, I don't know. I don't say that. Right? So yes, you made a gamble, and I think that's what they look at it as. Yeah, we make a gamble, and we do this, and we win a title. Well, you can't make gamble now. That's not going to work today. No. You know what you do then is not going to happen today. In spite of what you want to say, it will not happen. It will. Listen, it's been years, and me and you were having a conversation. It's been years that we see Detroit being number one in the Eastern Conference. It's been many years that we've seen Detroit. And Detroit was a building team. They build themselves to where they're at right now with trades and picks and all these things. They had to do that before they are where they're at right now. The last time I would honestly say seeing Detroit and hearing the name Detroit was in the era of Isaiah and those guys in them. That's when Detroit was Detroit. You understand? You had a year. There was a year when they had some players too, previous to that, but we don't see that. So you have to also say times change. The Knicks, you see the same thing in the Knicks, right? And then you look at Milwaukee. Milwaukee win what, 2 titles?
Milwaukee one, and then one in the 70s with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and then the win in Giannis.
Yeah, and then look at them now. The same thing we talk about Boston. Look at Boston. One player go down, change the whole game. One player change everything. And that's what we're saying. Because the same thing could happen here. One player go down could change everything. We see it with my team. I'm a Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry go down. It's almost like the team cannot play. LeBron go down. The team cannot play. I mean, like one player go down and the team kind of like, what? Like, really? So, so it's a different mindset back then. But if you go back and again, say the 80s is better basketball to me, 80s and the 90s, those guys didn't play hurt.
Yep.
You see, Jordan and those guys didn't play, they play hurt. Jordan coming with 2 tape around his finger broke. Tape.
Very true.
Playing basketball. Play with blood. You understand? And those are real basketball games. You don't find that today. The whole game changed. The league changed. It's a 3-point game. You need a big man to come in and shoot the threes now. And it's all about 3. I just get upset with Golden State Warriors. Every time they go down 3, miss. 3, miss. Like, it's no longer about that's the game that's the game today.
That's
you cannot get upset with it, right? That's the norm. Today.
I have two questions for both of you before we're done, right? Because you both confirmed that Raptors have no chance. They will get to the playoffs. That's the only chance they have, but they have no chance. But here are my 2 questions for you now, right? The Michael Jordan basketball era, Scott Pippen, the whole of them, that era of basketball, was it the best basketball that you would have seen played comparing to now basketball that you're seeing played? And I'm talking in terms of talent that you would have seen on the court, in terms of the competitiveness on the court. I want you to look at it that way and tell me if that era was a better basketball era than this era.
Yes.
I would say I'm going to say yes and no. Continue, Rudy. I'm going to say yes or no, and I'll tell you why. Go on, Rudy.
I'm going to say yes. When I look back, I was watching a clip recently with Indiana and Chicago, and they're going down to the wire. Like, they're going down to the wire, like 7 seconds wire. That's kind of time they're going on to play with, and you just don't know who's going to win. because Michael Jordan is on the court, there's no guarantee. You always feel like yes, he's going to win, but you have great players. Then the East was very competitive, like the Knicks, and with Philly, like they were very competitive, and almost you look at the players on a team, you could find three players that was phenomenal, like phenomenal, right? So I see that yes, and the game changed now. Like I said, guys shooting threes, there was barely threes and stuff. Then Reggie was the only 3 point shooter, like hot streak that we know. Reggie shooting threes, and then Ray Allen coming in and those type of things. But then we see guys going in and playing basketball. Guys who get the foul, and they say, "But ref, you call that? That's not a foul." But today, I'm out get and it's a foul, like anything. So the game changed. However, we this is the era that we're living in, and this is the time that we're living in. So,
So
every
so
time,
so
every
Rudy,
time in a time that you're living in, people are going to believe this is the best era because they've seen all the 3 point shooting, they've seen all these things, and then they've seen all this stuff, and they're thinking this is what basketball is. But if you take them back and watch basketball, they're going to say, "Whoa, that was different."
so it was more competitive back then
It was more competitive back then,
for you.
in my
Yeah,
opinion. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
RJ.
So for me, he's right. It is way more competitive back then. There was more heart and more grit with each
Mm,
player. They remember these players weren't friends. They were not friends. It's not like buddy buddy system here, the Bate and bench. It is a completely different era than it was back then. If you were on another team, we are not friends. I'm not shaking your hand, and I want to fight you every single time we're on the court. Nowadays,
yeah,
nobody wants to fight, and everybody wants to
yeah.
shake hands and go to the club after. Now, in terms of talent, there are a lot more people who are more talented across the board in the league now than it was back then. A
Mm.
lot more. You got big men, 7 foot men, 7'6", that can run down the court, dribble, run a play, shoot the ball, pass.
Mhm.
There's very few men that could do that back there. Sabonis was one man that could pass. Shaq was a person that could pass too as well. But after that, that was not much. You had big men out there, Antonio Davis. These guys are bruisers. You come in the lane, they're gonna lay you out. Bill
Yeah.
Laimbeer was gonna come in the lane, I'm gonna lay you out. But he was
Yeah.
not a person you can give the basket to and a basketball to and was gonna score. Just wasn't. He was there
Alright,
as an enforcer.
I
But
want shout answer.
look at
I
one
want
thing.
shout. I want shout out quick answers. I want shout out quick answers to this one, Rudy.
No, hang on,
Shout out
Richard.
quick answers.
Let me say this real quick.
Yeah.
I'm using one of my best rebounder in the league, which is Dennis Rodman. Then that was his
Mm-hmm.
job. His job was to rebound, nothing else. That's
Yep.
his job. Like they don't
Yep.
need points from you. I need you to
And
give me
he could
20
score back
rebounds a
before that.
game.
He could
And
actually
he
score.
scored.
When he was on Detroit, he could score, but
So
he ended
so
up taking on
then
the role of being the rebounder.
yeah. So
Yeah.
then you have players now who's a number 4, number 5, and that's your job. Today they want a number 5 to be a point guard, to be a shooting guard, and those are yes they can do it because they have the skills
Okay.
to do it, but they're no longer in a position to say I need you to give me 15 rebounds every game, and that's your job.
All right.
Yeah.
A quick one. Short answers to this one because we're pretty much done. Um, in terms of moving players from club to club to club in terms of winning a championships, how do you feel about it? Is it something that you like or don't like? Back in the day, players stay at the club for years
Yeah.
and they play with that club with what they have, win championship with that club with what they have. Nowadays, as the players they're moving from club like a group of players who just move to one club to go win a championships. How do you feel about that?
Well,
If
I
you're,
see.
you know what, you go first, Rudy.
Yeah, I see it in this thing too. I see two things about it. In the old days, like in the 70s, like I said, not even the 70s, I wasn't back then, but I'm saying the 90s and the 80s, their mindset, you understand, is only one team that could win. They have that mindset already. So they just give it the all. They love the game. They love the game, right? They love the game. So they just give it everything that they have. You understand? And that's why you see it was more competitive too. It was so close. The Jazz and all those teams that they playing, like it was so close games when Detroit and Chicago was playing. It was down to the wire because they know one team could win. Today now, you have the money. I think it's way more money. I always say that. If the type of money they have today was back then, Michael Jordan knows guys playing till they're 60. They're not retiring. No, Shaq and them would have been playing, making $200-300 million. They're not going
But
nowhere.
they would believe in that
You
team though.
understand? You understand? But they wouldn't. Them guys never had a chance to leave a team because it's more about actually playing. They don't have all this trade stuff and all this stuff like they have today. Guys get traded back then, but it wasn't
Yeah,
as aggressive as that because they understand. And two, they had the fans with them. They didn't have fans leaving them. They had the fans. The fans was the fans.
of
Boston
course.
fans was Boston fans. New York fans was New York fans. You can't go to New York today and talk about the Knicks
Yeah,
and say something bad about. You can't go down to Manhattan and talk about Brooklyn. Somebody, you may not even go back up to Brooklyn.
no,
So even though they're in the same place,
yeah,
you can't go
yeah,
and talk about the
RJ,
Yankees and the Mets, right? So yeah.
yeah, RJ. How you feel about that?
So I don't like superstars going from team to team. I come from that era where guys stay where they were. If you're in Boston, you're in Boston. You're in Chicago. But this is the thing, though.
Me
There's
too.
only certain people. There's only certain people on the basketball team or in the league that have that type of responsibility upon them. Everyone else is expendable. All right. Rodman was expendable. He was on Detroit. Then he was on the Spurs. Then he was on Chicago. Then he was on LA, and then he was on Dallas.
LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can move around. He's a mercenary. You can get him around. But someone like Jordan, someone like LeBron, someone like KD, someone like Steph Curry, I believe these people have to
Patrick
stay where they
Ewing.
are. Yeah, I think they have to stay where they are.
All
Yeah,
right.
but LeBron didn't do it, and I think he set the trend by putting a super team together suddenly
I
and
can't
to
stand
win a
it. I
title.
don't like it. I don't
Yeah,
like it.
you know, I got
And
I got to show my.
they make it seem like
But you
he
know
go
what?
back to
But you know what has happened
Cleveland.
though. You know what has happened with that move, and it has
Yeah.
made basketball a lot more exciting in terms of point scoring. Now, because of the big three, because remember the big three at the first one was in this era was KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. That was the first one.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
it has forced teams to be very careful about who they draft. They need players that are basically superstars from the jump, and you put them all on one team. If you can do that in draft, you basically have a super team.
Yeah. And again, it's not a guarantee because even the first year they come together with a team, they lost.
It's not a guarantee. No. Yeah, it's not a guarantee.
Yeah, they lost.
You're hoping.
Yeah, they lost. But RJ, before you go, give me your team on the Super Bowl Sunday. Who is your team?
Super Bowl Sunday.
So my heart, my brain tells me the Seahawks. My brain does.
Yeah.
Something is awry. Something is awry. Like I saw the line. I used to gamble a little bit, made some money, and I got on it before it got too bad. And there's a line for Walker, the third, who's the running back for the Seahawks. That man has been deadly, but that line is so low. Why is it low? It doesn't make sense to me why it would be so low. And they're pretty evenly matched defensively, right? LA has a good defense too as well, and still something's up. I would not be surprised if the Patriots win.
I'm Seattle. I don't know.
That is a smart thing.
I never seen Patriots win a Super Bowl without Brady, so it's kind of hard.
You've never seen it.
It's not something you like to see. What I like about these two teams, is not two teams that we talk about like super team over the years, so I like to see, you always see two new something. It's always good to see that something different, and I think that's what that is. And then of course you have Bad Bunny. When you have Bad Bunny, anything can happen in the Super Bowl.
No, that's we've never had a non-American. Actually, well, no, sorry. The Weeknd was one. Rihanna was another one. Yeah. But we're talking about a non-English speaking American.
The man saying he's not speaking no English at all. The man say Spanish only.
No, he's not. No, Spanish. That is his thing. He's only speaking Spanish. He's almost doing like what Messi does. I swear Messi can speak. I swear Messi can speak English. He just chooses not to. I think he can.
Messi can speak all language, yo.
All right, guys. I really appreciate it. We'll see what comes out on Sunday. So whoever you're rooting for, guys, implore all fans to go out and watch the Super Bowl as well. Of course, always an exciting game. Two strong team, I think. I really don't
Yeah,
have a pick at all, at all. I really always like the Cowboys and
yeah.
always like the
Oh
I'm a
Cowboys.
God.
Dallas Cowboy. I'm a Dallas Cowboys. Me and you. I'm a
Oh
diet Dallas Cowboys.
God.
Okay. I'm a Cowboys. Even when
Oh
Yeah,
God.
even when they can't win, I'm still saying that I'm
Lord
a
have mercy.
Cowboy.
Hey, Des.
I am a diehard Cowboys. Diehard Cowboys.
yeah, you know,
I
so
listen. I get people come after me.
yeah,
People say things to me. I'm a Cowboys regardless of what. That's
yeah,
one
you
team.
know, so,
I would tell you, one team. I would never because I used to grow up in Chicago Bulls, and that was my team. And then I went to
all
the
right.
Golden State Warriors, right? But Cowboys, Cowboys always, always.
Anyway, listen, before we go, I'd really love to see another year when the Raptors win this basketball championships. I'd really love to see that again because it's something that is going to speak to the development of basketball around the world to say a team outside of the US can do this. I mean, people might say it's a fluke the first time. So winning it again would tell the world that, hey, listen, basketball is now very exposed and it's very thing that I always think that, basketball should try and create a league, a big league, where it is not just the Americans are playing,
And
even a
I
few
also think,
Canadians. So I'd
uh,
really want to see that. So anyway, Rudy, that's my little thoughts on it, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're going to
I
get down more into the season progress. RJ, we want to invite you back again another time
yeah,
so that we can discuss some other things. Lots of things to learn in regards to basketball. A lot of things interesting to learn in terms of how basketball trading happens, how the money has been spent within clubs, and that kind of thing, and how players move around and that kind of things all the time because it's pretty interesting to see how the game of sports nowadays is being dominated by money and how
yeah,
money caused sport to be
certainly.
played in the way that it has been played today. Because I can tell you, and you guys spoke to it, that basketball has been played the way it has been played today because of money. And the things that is happening is because
Yeah,
of money, So,
And Richard,
um,
that is a big
yeah,
reason why the Raptors probably would not win another championship because too much money is sucked out of the player's contract because of taxes, and they're
yeah,
not in America. A player will go to LA, California, and play
hmm
and pay all those taxes,
Miami,
the same tax rate that we
Miami.
pay, but
Yeah,
they're in the States. There's a difference.
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And
Miami
I
is no
know there
tax.
and I know there's
Everything
a and
down
I
the
know
tax.
there's a
Yeah,
big call. I know there's a big call right now, Rudy. From the players' union or something in regards to that too. There's a whole big discussions going on around that, and I'd really love to get down into talking about that too in terms of how Toronto can, make that better for players so that we can be more attractive to players coming, right? So anyway, thanks guys for the discussion today. I like it. I learn a lot. Start understanding it more. Let's discuss basketball, much, much more in terms of our discussion, Rudy, as we plan to do. And I want to invite all our fans out there, all our YouTubers, all our SportsGlobe YouTubers out there, join our conversation and just let us know what you think about what we are saying here. Do you think that the trajectory that we're going down or the road that we're going down in terms of the discussion is right? Do you think that the Raptors really have a chance or don't have a chance? Let us know your thoughts. So remember to like, share, and subscribe, and leave us your comments. Let RJ know that what he's saying is so or no go so. So, really appreciate it, guys. RJ, big up all of the man over the barber shop.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
we continue having the discussion and things. Rudy, appreciate
yeah,
it,
man.
guys.
Always.
Thanks so much. All right,
Pleasure,
RJ.
man. A pleasure. A pleasure.
Blessings, man.